Hey everyone, Janice here. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about the fleas of life. You know, those little pesky things that get under our skin and can suck the life out of us if we let them. For me, that means bills, laundry, chores I don't want to do, and doctor's appointments. And I have to give credit, I did not coin the phrase fleas of life. I first heard it from Dani Shapiro. She's a famous author. Some of you may be familiar with her New York Times bestsellers. She was also on Oprah Super Soul Sunday, and I had the privilege of taking her writing class in Miami this summer, and I learned quite a bit. I'll be talking about her more, I'm sure, in future videos. But anyway, I'm going to introduce a couple of planners to you and talk a lot about bill tracking. So first I'm going to start with my Erin Condren. So last year I had Erin Condren. I loved it very much, but I realized at the end of the year I never used any of these daily, morning, day, night categories, you know, these weekly spreads. Yeah, so I said to myself, what a waste of paper. You know, I probably should rethink that. And I realized the only thing I was using was the monthly, month on 2 pages. That's my favorite spread. So I knew I wanted that in the Go Forward planner for 2016. The other thing I realized, and you'll see this in future videos, I put everything in my Erin Condren, anything personal. So I had a work planner at work and a personal Erin Condren, and it was cluttered, for lack of a better way of saying it. I had, you know, the bills, the workouts, the fun vacations, travel, all on one planner, and it's a mess. So I wanted to do better for 2016, starting with how I track bills. So I'm going to introduce Lily, my Lime Life planner. I name my planners. I don't know about you all, but I do. And she's beautiful. I love the cover. I love the cover of my Erin Condren too. I mean, they're fun. And these little headbands came from my local pharmacy. So let's get into Lily here. Lily's been upset with me because I'm using her desk for videos lately, and she's got to learn how to share. So I made this. I'm learning silhouette and weld. So with that, let's put that to the side. So one thing about the Lime Life planner, I put in a leading page before the month. And at first I didn't know if I was going to like that, but what I like it for now is future planning. So for example, I know I had to have a dentist appointment in July. So what I did was put it down here, and then, you know, what I do at the end of June is figure out, okay, I have to make an appointment, and put that on the calendar when I make the appointment, which I still have not done. Okay, and here's my month at a glance. And I'll just walk you through a few things. I'm not much into decorating, although this looks like it. I wanted to be festive for the video. And what I have here are the Target Dollar Spot stickers, but also I purchased printables from Ellums, E-L-L-U-M's, Ellums stickers. I'll put a link to her Etsy shop below. And I just think these are really festive and cute. The Lime Life didn't really have the red, white, and blue color theme that you would have thought, like Erin Condren did, so I kind of gussied it up a little bit. So let's see, what can I tell you about bill tracking? I'm going to slow down a little bit here. So a couple of things. So first off, one of my recommendations is to put together a checklist, and I keep this in a sleeve. It's just a sheet protector, and I'm using a coil clip. This is from Planner Kate. I'll link that below. You probably can't see it against that. But basically, I cut the coil clip in half and just stuck it in the back and made like a checklist. So I have all my bills and the different little icons I use for them and the dates they're due. So I keep that handy because then what I do is look at this and then plan out my month for bills. And I'm going to just start anywhere. But basically, I typically do laundry on Sundays. So this particular planner has a Sunday start week. You can always, you know, customize that to Monday or whatever, you know, meets your needs. But I feel like Sunday is kind of my get ready for the week. So that worked out really nice for me. The other thing, so the lawn guy. So I have my lawn cut, thankfully, by a wonderful man. And I had a terrible time of remembering when he was going to come until that got added to the planner. So this is a lot about not just bills, but also like house things that happen, and of course I have to pay my landscaper, so I track that here, and he's every other week, so I put that here. And these stickers, I'll put links to all the different sticker Etsy folks I use because I just love stickers, they're fun. And it's a nice visual. I'm very visual, and I like being able to see what's due when and what's happening in my month. So a couple more things. The stickers. So I tend to have a lot of automated bill pay. So bills, for whatever reason, they kind of cluster on me. So I have a lot that go out on the 1st, the 15th, and at the end of the month. Actually, my credit card's always at the end of the month. And that's just kind of, I can lay out my month because I know when the bill pay is going to kick them out. Now, I just want to mention, like, I'm doing this by, like, when I'm paying the bills. If you prefer, like, okay, you know, maybe your bill is due on the 15th, but you actually pay it on the 11th to make the 15th, then, you know, maybe you would put a sticker here or however you want to do it. I'm just kind of giving myself a visual of, like, don't forget these are your bills and when they're due and what you need to do, and this is when they're going to kick out of your bank account. So the other thing I do on this spread is I have a monthly bills tracker, and I made up the dates and kind of the amounts here because I didn't want my actuals to be on YouTube. But you get the idea. It's nice as you pay your bills to keep track of what you're paying and, you know, how that comes out of your account. You could also put deposits on here. I have not, but that would not be a bad idea too. As you're making a bank deposit, I have automatic deposits for my you know, work, but if you're making deposits at the bank or whatever, you could probably track those here as well, and then you'd have your in and out, so to speak, of the bank. You know, deposits, credits, and debits. Okay. So that's sort of my layout. It's just fun. And the other thing I just want to share, and this is another, two things I put in here for you in the back. So this is also Planner Kate coil clip. It goes in the back. And I mocked this up for the video, but basically what I'm saying is that for all your bills, put them on a list. I also should mention this bill tracker was a printable, and it came from the Preppy Greek. So here's her bill tracker, very cute little printable. But what I do here is list all my bills, the amounts, and when they're due, kind of like what I had before. So there's some redundancy built into the system. And then as I pay them, I'm, you know, marking them off, and I'm also tracking amounts. So, you know, my mortgage, car payment, different things are just automated. They're the same amount every month, but some vary. And I just want to tell a quick story. I think it's a good idea to track the amounts because I had a leak. This is a true story. It's kind of embarrassing to share, but it wasn't in my house. It was outside in the lawn, and I didn't know this. And well, thankfully it was outside. And my water bill was the only reason I realized it because it kept going up and up and up. Like my water bill over the course of a couple of months had more than doubled. So that was my clue that something was wrong. So I highly recommend tracking the amounts. I've had friends tell me that their cable bill was wrong one month or their electric spiked because somebody was leaving the TV and lights on and different things. So it's a good idea to put the amounts and just kind of see over time how you're doing. I have one other recommendation on this that I couldn't customize this bill tracker, but this came from Tony Robbins, and he says that you should track the percentage of what you're paying. So if your mortgage is $1,500 a month, let's say, or your rent, and you only bring in, like, just say, you know, $3,000 a month household income, then you would want to do the math and say, okay, as a percentage, this is what I'm paying out for my rent, this is what I'm paying out on my car, and so forth. And at the end of the year, you have a really good idea of your budget and what you're spending and where your money's going. Notice I do not have any fun stuff on here because that would blow my budget, and I don't track all my little planners and supplies and all of that because I'm sure it would be shocking, and I just didn't want this on my household tracker. Okay, so there's one other thing I'll share, and this is a copy of what's in a different notebook. So the other thing is I have some bills that are only quarterly or once a year, or even like doctor's appointments that are twice a year, and I track them on an annual tracker just by the month. So I always kind of know like how I'm supposed to be making appointments or paying bills. I close this off here, but you would put the description of, like, red is my doctor's appointments. I always say May is a month of medical for me. So I tend to go to, you know, my doctor's appointments in May, annual checkup, what have you. And then if there's every 6 months, I have that marked off. I put magazine subscriptions on here because I get so confused. I don't know if you all get magazine subscriptions where they say you have, you know, 5 months left. And you're like, okay, well, tell me when I have 30 days left. So I put the subscription renewal on here because that was very confusing to me at one time. And I think I'm out of tricks. That's basically my bill tracking. So I hope this helps somebody. I will also disclose one other thing. Of course, as luck would have it, right before I go to film this, I got a bill that I missed and a late charge. So I share that to be transparent and honest and to tell you that, you know, I think us planners can be a bit of control freaks, and I think that's okay, but we're not perfect. And so even with all the tracking and planning and careful things that we do, things happen. You know, we make mistakes and we just have to roll with it when those things happen. Hopefully they're the exception because of our tracking and we're a lot more organized and feel on top of things. I think that's the psychological benefit of doing these kind of trackers. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.